first of the loose lead walking video tutorials. So here hopefully you've already gone through the target training and you've started a little bit of basic heel work. So that will get your dog actually understanding what you want. So here we're going to try and first get their attention, get their engagement, and then I'll start taking you through a few of the skills that we do. I always use a short fixed lead. Please don't get into the habit of using a flexi, because a flexi always has tension on the lead, and we'll never actually teach them that tension means they need to look back at you if they're used to that tension all the time. So a nice fixed lead. This one has several different lengths it can go to, so you can have it very short. I normally have it on the middle one just because it makes it nice and easy for me to have my hands free as well if it's looped over. So for this I will always have Otto. I'll be trying to take Otto onto my left hand side because that's where I train. Trying to swap them around is perfectly fine if you want either side. Right, there's nothing wrong with the right hand side either, so please just do it your way. But for this I will be having him on my my left hand side. So we're going to get his attention first. As you can see, he's very distracted by what's going on in the next field. So we'll try and get his attention with lots of energy, with lots of excitement, and hopefully he'll understand that looking at us is much more exciting than what's going down there. Otto! Otto! Yeah, good boy! So I'm going to treat that up because he gave me a really nice engagement. Yeah, good boy. Shake the hand. Yes, look at that lovely target there. That was brilliant. That's exactly what we want. It's a nice engagement. Yes, good. So now he's looking at me, expecting that treat to happen when he comes to me. Good, good boy. So now I've got his attention. What we're going to do is take him for a bit of a walk. So Otto. Yeah, good boy. So at the moment he's not pulling. So he's coming around to the other side. Good. So I'm going to bring him over with that hand that we just did touch with. Okay, good boy. So this has come from doing touch. So already I've got his, I'm going to ignore the jumping. So don't mind the jumping at this stage. Good boy. What I'd like him to do is pull so you can see. Good boy. So all of this attention has just come from doing those engagement games with him. Good. So I am not holding him close to me. I don't want him to get used to this being the position. I want it to be nice and loose. Good boy, come on man. Good. Which means that he is understanding that whilst this lead is loose, he's quite happy to roam in the area. As soon as it goes tight, he needs to look back at me and come back. And because I've already done some hand touches with him, Otto, he's understanding what that is. So I'm going to treat him up there. So what happened was he got to the end of the lead, he wanted to go that way, I didn't want him to, so I started going the other direction. So you can either do a big turn around or just walk slightly back. What you are looking for is that the dog looks at you for that attention, that engagement. So right here we've got this. I'm going to correct. I don't like this. I don't like my hand being pulled. He could perfectly happily sit by my side and look that way. So, Otto, and I'm going to turn. We're going the other direction. Good boy. This side. Good. So what I didn't want there was him to think that standing on the end of that lead is an okay thing to do. So this I'm perfectly happy with. Okay. Good boy. Good boy. So I'm going to step it up a bit now. He's doing quite well with that. Good. Good boy. Okay. Good boy. So here he wants to go that way. Okay. Good boy. And as soon as he's back with me and looking, he gets that treat. So it's much easier to do this in an area where he's not so distracted. So at home in your garden is where you want to start practicing this, so they get used to the idea of looking at you, paying attention, doing hand touches. As soon as you know that he's not got these little moments where he's often being distracted, you cannot get him back, you can then start taking it out where there's more distractions. There is no point in trying to train this where there's too many distractions that you can't even get going. So we're looking for that fluid movement to start with. If it's way too much, go back to the garden, go to your driveway, go to just out your road, go to a park where they've already had a walk and you're on your way home. That's always a good place to do it as well. So the idea is if they're looking to go one way, we're going to ask them to come back to us and maybe go the other way. What we're looking for is if they've got to the end of the lead, we're going to correct them, we're going to say, Otto, good boy. And he gets rewarded for coming back. Always have a reward for coming back, so that's reinforcing to them that coming back is the right thing to do. Good boy, come on then. Otto. Good boy. Good boy. So the more you practice this in an area like this, where he's not highly distracted, the sooner he'll understand what you're trying to do. Which means that when you take it out onto the road, you'll have a much better chance of them actually understanding what you're trying to achieve with them. So you want to treat it as a little bit of heel work. You know, you've got this and you can use this to turn directions, you can use this to bring them back to you. But what you really want is that heel work idea of coming back to you because you've asked, because you're asking them to come next to you. So always start with that touch training, so that hand target is always there. It's fresh in their mind that a hand target is a good thing. So you should just be able to go, Otto, and bring them up to your hand, which will make the whole process a lot easier. And then we're going to start adding in distractions.